Hey, you guys, happy Friday. We are back. I know we got a lot to talk about. I got Bree on the line.
Hi guys, howdy howdy.
Oh, man. We had a very interesting week as Thursday and today was the first couple days of February sweeps. And, what, Bree?
Yeah, yeah, interesting is a nice word to say.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
That's a nice word to frame it. Yep, it was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Very. Oh, Lord. Child, we got some stuff to talk about. But how many people we got in the chat?
Let's see, I'm waiting for it to show up on my side. I think the last I checked, it was like 25 when it did pop up, and now it closed out.
Mm.
One second, y'all. But usually we always will get our usual suspects.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. We got 35 in the chat. I knew it was good. I knew we got the usual suspects. Chimera, Sharon, Black Pink Me, Allison Combs, Melinda Pierce. They all were ready to talk about this week.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Everybody's slowly making it in.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Alright, so welcome you guys to Soap Corner Talk, where we're going to have a conversation and some uproar, maybe a little bit, in regards to The Young and the Restless and the Bold and the Beautiful for the week of January 27th through January 31st. We are now officially completing the first month of 2025. I'm like, time is just flying. Oh my goodness. It is insane.
We're 31 days into the new year already.
Yeah. Time is flying.
Insane.
You hear me? We'll see how crazy it's going to get next week. Hey, J Money. J Money is in the chat.
Okay, he's going to hold everything down in his chat.
Yeah, he said I'll be on the chat side tonight. All right, cool. We'll enjoy you from the chat because we know Jay be saying some stuff. So who knows what he going to say today.
Yes. Oh, goodness.
Oh, thank you, Mari. She sent a super sticker, super chat. Good evening, ladies. Hope all is well. Yes, thank you very much. Happy Friday to you too, Mari.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what we normally do, we talk about The Young and the Restless at the first half of the show. Then there's a little break of a little housekeeping notes. Second half of the show, we got The Bold and Beautiful. And then we have our final four segments, Flip the Script, Who's Taking Several Seats, Star of the Week, Pickle of the Week. And we have two contenders for the Simp Olympics this week. And some of you guys that maybe been listening to my recaps this week, you probably heard me give a couple names. So, yeah.
They put their time and effort in this week. They really wanted this award.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So, without any further ado, Bree, let's go ahead and jump into this. So, we're going to start with Y&R for the 27th through the 31st. Jordan's death falls under police scrutiny, and Tessa and Aria go missing. Ian turned the table on Victor at the ranch, and Mariah wants Ward wiped off the face of the earth. Two people get shot during a showdown at the Newman ranch. Tessa returns as Victor is rushed to the hospital, and Ian cheats death. Daniel breaks down after Sharon's charges are dropped, and Adam and Nick ponder a future without Victor Newman.
Woo.
Where you want to start, girl?
Well, we can probably just start with Monday's episode. It all was one story for me.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you want to get like the small stuff out the way, I think they have like Billy and Sally.
Yeah, let's get them out the way because I mean, to me, I actually, to be honest with you, Brie, I actually skipped through their scenes.
Ooh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, because I was so caught up into what was going to happen next at the ranch with Victor and Ian and all that. I was like, I really don't, because I'm not interested in the Sally and Billy pairing in the first place. So
Right.
when I kind of got a little whiff in the beginning of the conversation about, I'm like, yeah, 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 whatever.
Did you see the love scene?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I felt too. It was like, meh. I'm like, okay, they got it in, and she decorated his home, and I guess he decided he doesn't want to fight with Victor anymore. He came to his senses. I think they all eventually do, because he doesn't have the wallet to even go up against Victor. So it was smart for him to concede.
I know, right? It's just like, okay, so he's turning his life around. And the only reason why I do know of the content because I had to do a recap of it, but just to watch the actual scenes play out, and they were long too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm like, can we? Okay, y'all, Billy gonna get his life together. All right, cool. He want to reconcile with his mama. He got the new house. He likes Sally. They go sleep together. Okay, what's next? That's where I am with that.
Mm.
Jay
And
said,
Jay Money
"Oh, go ahead. We about to say the same thing. Go ahead."
he said Jay was like that love scene was lukewarm for you, T, huh?
I think we're
It was,
spoiled. I just think
yeah.
since Thope is everything else has just been lackluster.
I mean, that is the measuring stick.
Yeah.
And, until we see something otherwise, that's why I can't wait to see Beyond the Gates. I feel that's going to knock everything we see on Thope out the park, but, only a few weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as Thope, how can you compare to that chemistry, that fire, that heat, that excitement? Like, they were scratching at each other, biting each other, slamming each other against the walls, like turning around behind desks and tables, and poor Douglas had to sit on that couch. Like, we got a good feel what those hot spicy love scenes were. We haven't seen those since like the 90s and mid 2000s, but we got like a little something something, and they took it all away. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just very mute.
Yep. Yeah. It's. I mean, we have been wanting some hot scenes up into that point because since the COVID years 2020 to 2023, it was, we really didn't have any outstanding, memorable love scenes between any of the characters from both soaps, in my opinion, unless I'm glossing over something. I mean, we did have the Steffy and Finn scenes, but when Thope
It
came
was
around,
few and far between.
yeah, it's few and far between, right? And then when Thope came along, it's like, okay, Steffi and Finn scenes, okay, whatever.
I agree, Dewan. Carter and Quinn, they had like some hot, spicy scenes where he put her against the wall. I was like, oh, okay, Carter. But we
Mm-hmm.
don't get to see that too often.
Right. Yep. And then the thing
And
is,
then,
only for them to put them two together after Eric ends up with Donna and then Quinn is gone a month later. It's just like, really? We could have got some more hot scenes out of those two.
yes, I agree. And then same with like Abby and Devon when they first like having their affair. That was hot. That was spicy.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't really do too many. See, well, and Nate and Victoria, they had some pretty decent scenes, but and then Audra, she put in her work in. Um, but I don't know. As far as like Billy and Sally, it was kind of meh. Like, okay, they're together. They're it's just there. Like, I can't really be too invested in it.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather see him, with someone who matches that fire and that excitement. That would be Phyllis.
Girl, I'm sorry. I listen. I'm just spoiled when it comes to dealing with the whole thing with Thope. I'm just like, oh, when we can we get that back? Especially they gave us a whole week of it, and then we got a little bit more in the office when he pushed Hope on the desk. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, that girl was so frazzled. She running behind couches.
Yes.
You know, that
She's
type of heat. I just
that
hate.
man was breathing on her, and she felt like awakenings and pulsations and everything. Like she couldn't contain herself.
Exactly.
Oh goodness. Well, it's. I mean, maybe later down the line, I'm gonna try to be optimistic with Billy and Sally. But I don't know. That was just kind of further from my mind this week with those two. I was like, oh, okay. And then I think Adam and Chelsea had a scene together, and I'm like, oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm that bit going back to the Billy and Sally thing. It just I didn't really care. It didn't move me either way. So
And how did he get a place, but Summer is yet to get a place?
yeah, tell me now. I granted he well, I mean, granted he do have some kids, right? So they
Yeah,
need a place to go. But why Victoria
Summer
didn't
got a
get a
kid,
house? She in the tack house on the property, but her whole house burnt down.
but she got a whole ranch to
Mm-mm.
stay at.
Well, she's living
She
on their daddy's property. I'm talking about she had her own separate house before
right,
Jordan burned it down.
but this woman got $500 million from her daddy. She's able to get houses if she wanted to. She choosing to do that. Billy already had a whole condo, whereas like you had Summer who's been living at that hotel for the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Even her brother was able to get a place quicker than her.
That is true. That is
I don't
true.
know.
Yeah, I'm
That
surprised that they gave
Daniel.
Adam the mansion. I mean the other house that Victor and Nikki was staying in.
Yes, and he was surprised by that too. He was like, "I'm surprised they didn't give it to Nick or to Victoria or even Abby." I honestly thought it would have been Victoria's house, but I was even shocked by that he gave it to Adam. But he deserves it. He's still one of those kids. I mean, if anything, I mean the other kids, like I said, they had $500 million from their daddy, all three of them. What did Adam get?
Oh, wait a
Nothing.
minute. You see that? Jenna said Nick built Summer a house and she never lived in it.
Oh,
So that don't even
oh,
make sense on the writer's part. Summer actually has a house then.
so she is disrespectful. But she choosing to be in a hotel?
But girl, I get it. Maybe they don't have enough sets or whatever, but at least they should make it seem like she's going home, even though we might not see her in a home.
Right. Even if they make a set of like the front door and she just meets everybody at the front door or something.
I forgot about that. Nick did
I
have a
mean,
house built for her.
and then Nick had his own house that we never see. He has a child that we never see either.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know. I'm hoping with this 4-year contract extension, we get to see more stuff versus seeing all these people at GCAC. That is
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous.
Yeah. So, anywho, like I said, I really didn't have too much on Billy and Sally. I'm
Mm-hmm.
over it. The
Yeah.
other separate story is Chelsea moving into that house, and Nicholas decides that he's like, if my brother don't do what he's supposed to do and not respect your boundaries, you need to let me know. I'm like, excuse you?
You got nothing better else to do.
It's like
You
he
you
just spent the last 6 months caping on Sharon, and now you finna cape for Chelsea.
he got that cape from the dry cleaners, ready and willing to save whoever. And apparently now it's Chelsea. You have an issue with Adam living with Chelsea now, even though your daddy wanted this, even though your nephew wanted this. Right. They already made a decision. So your 2 cents means what? Mind your business. Get some business. Don't you have a job?
He got a job, a son. I mean, go find you a girlfriend or something. I mean, because Chelsea, they had already had that conversation. They went back and forth over it for almost a week. And she said, okay, fine. And she even said, look, I'm staying in one of the rooms in this house. I'm trying to be in a room close to my son. My son want me here. Yeah, well, you know. And I'm like, Nick, go find something to do.
Like, Adam can't be around any of the women that Nick knows. He can't be around Sharon. He can't be around Sally. And now Chelsea.
Because he was doing anytime. Wait a minute. It was with each of those women. Because when Adam was concerned about Sharon, he barked and barked and barked to tell Adam to stay away from her. And then with the whole thing with Sally. And now with Chelsea, it's like, dude. See, he wouldn't have this problem if he wouldn't keep sleeping with Adam's girlfriends or exes.
Oh, that part. I mean, talk about rinse and repeat. I'm like, his daddy collects businesses. I guess Nick wants to collect women.
But it's always after Adam done been with him. I mean, been with them. So,
yeah.
Of course, he got with Chelsea after Adam had a whole kid with her. He got with Sally after that whole thing where Adam was like, I need you to keep your job, but we got to fake the breakup thing. And then Sally, being stupid, listening to Chloe, broke up the relationship and he ended up with Nicholas.
And that didn't make any sense at all. And she's sleeping with the brother, carrying the other brother's baby.
Exactly. Right there. That's why her selective outrage was just like, yeah, okay. Girl, please, stop.
Yeah. This man literally took off his cape to put the cape back on to go save another female. And he's supposed to have another job. But where's Christian at? You done took Adam's child away from him, but we never see him, we never hear you mention him, but you got all the time and energy to worry about what these other grown people are doing.
Right. So, yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, no, he didn't just go up in there and try to tell her, well, you know, if my brother does something, you need to call me. Man, if you don't go somewhere and find something to do.
Yeah. J Money said Nick had Sharon first. Well, a lot of people had Sharon afterwards, too. I'm just saying. They all had her afterwards.
Is that Adam obviously had a history with Sharon because of the whole bipolar thing. And he was the one that helped her get the help. So, of course, now that she was spiraling again, unbeknownst to them, it had a lot to do with the PCP in her system. Adam was just concerned, like, listen, I know what the girl has been through. Can I talk to her? Is she okay? And Nicholas jumped down his throat.
And keep in mind, these are grown women, so if they choose to interact with Adam, what is Nick going to do?
Exactly, except warn them.
Which, once again, mind your business. You're supposed to be co-CEO of something.
Girl.
Like, and he's never at his job.
No.
That's what I'm saying in the group chat. At least Liam's going to lie and say he's at work. We never see Nick at his job.
Nope. So let's also talk about, because I'm going to break outside of the Ian Jordan thing. There's other, like, extenuating circumstances. So we also had Tessa, because see, they spent a week making it look like Ian or whoever had something to do with missing Tessa. And the girl just was broke down at the side of the road and everybody freaked out. What was that?
I'm so lost on that. So she took the child in the middle of the night, didn't warn her wife, hey, the baby's not feeling well. I'm going to be in the car. I'm going to be driving. Especially now that she knows everything that is going on.
Mm-hmm.
That they're supposed to be on high alert about two psychopaths.
Mm-hmm.
She and I understand parents drive their kids to try to get them to go to sleep. I do get that.
Mm-hmm.
However,
I used to do that with my son.
but you didn't have a psychopath out on the loose, and everybody saying like, stay away from Ian, stay away from, and keep in mind, prior to that same day, Ian came and saw the girl.
Right. And then, like Jenna said, Tessa is stranded, and all people, Abby just show up.
And we didn't see Abby this week at all.
Nope. And I mean, even when, well, we'll talk about that with what happened at the Newman Ranch house, but, you know, Victor was like, I ain't calling Abby. Well, Abby made it to that ranch somehow, even if it's to bring Tessa home. And
right. And then her cell phone wasn't working. So Tessa didn't charge her car, didn't charge her phone. And then when she passed out in the car on the Newman Ranch, all the security, all these people.
Girl, I didn't understand none of that. I'm like, why did the writers, unless there's something maybe coming up, maybe she did something on the sly, I don't know. But if it's not, and they just made her go missing just because she was riding around with the baby and the car broke down with no cell phone, okay, what we supposed to do with that? And she just show up at the house with Mariah freaking out.
And she just like, with the baby, like, hi guys, what's going on? And both Sharon and Mariah looking at her like, where the hell you been at?
Right.
So you have the whole baby. And you're driving around that large ranch to try to get that kid to go to sleep. So you mean to tell me your car breaks down, Abby, of all people, is able to save you, but you still pass out in the car?
Yeah, she said that it was cold and she was about to fall asleep. Yeah, she said that. And right before she could fall asleep, Abby was at the door.
So Abby couldn't bring you to the house.
Abby was the one that dropped her off at the Sharon's. So she wasn't on the ranch. She was on a road, stranded. So I think you said she was driving around the ranch, but no, she was on a separate road, stranded after she left their house. And so Abby somehow on that stranded road that she was on, that she had no access to anybody. And from what I know of Wisconsin, it's a lot of dark roads.
Dark roads, and it's cold.
Right.
And then Abby left her own cell phone at her job.
Girl, none of that makes sense.
I'm like, y'all are millionaires. Y'all got expensive cars, so you guys can't call on from your car, because I know like they used to have like the OnStar. I think they still have OnStar.
You have, and I don't know what kind of car Tessa is driving, but you can go to Five Below and get yourself a AirPlay, CarPlay, depending on if you got an Apple or not, charger to attach your phone to your car. What do you mean? No battery.
This made absolutely no sense. No sense.
Mm-mm.
Like, you couldn't call your spouse like you do any other time and say, hey, I'm taking Aria out to try to get her to sleep. Boom. So your wife doesn't worry.
Right. That's all she had to do. She could have did that before she left the house. Look, Aria is crying. You know, I'm going to do the usual. I'm going to take her for a ride and drive around, and I'll be back. But no, you didn't do nothing after that whole fight that you had, and then you going to go disappear? Yeah, okay. All that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and then pop up in Sharon's house like, hi, guys. You guys were looking for me?
Girl, that was some hot mess. Hot mess.
Like, if I was Mariah, and I'm not a Mariah fan, but if she were to strangle Tessa, I look, go for it, because that would have frustrated me. That Mariah was crying, sick, and just distraught. The police was looking for Tessa.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just,
They
all
put out a
right.
whole APB, had Chance looking for and everything.
But Abby, of all people, was able to find her.
Girl, I don't know. That just didn't make sense to me. None of that. No phone call. No, and then why did they write that in there like that if nothing was wrong with her? And she was just on the side of the road. I don't know. Don't know.
Now, if they were to do a twist, because we've seen a small handful of scenes between Ian and Tessa.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they were to twist this out, especially since we know towards the end what happened with Ian, could she have been working with Ian?
I mean, anything is possible the way these writers have been doing stuff. Anything is possible. I don't know.
Yeah. But she was absolutely stupid nonetheless. I was so furious. Like, the police did unnecessary work. Look for you, girl.
I guess my thing is, Bree, is why did they write that in? Unless, only thing I can think of is that there's something that we haven't seen that maybe she's attached to, but she seemed genuinely oblivious. And then when they broke down everything that happened with Ian, she was like, oh my God, I would never do that again. And, I'm sorry I didn't trust you. I should have never believed what he was saying. I don't know. Unless there's more to her story. If it's not, what was that for?
It was unnecessary. Like, a lot of the stuff was unnecessary, including how they ended Jordan's character. It was unnecessary.
Yeah. So, then we got another separate conversation with Claire and Kyle. How she twists her little story. And I'm thinking to myself, like, because remember, they compiled the story about Jordan, right?
Mm-hmm.
To give to the police. To Chance.
Yeah, well, he the whole police department.
Right. But then it looked like Claire kind of let a few extras in, but with a twist, to put Kyle on to what happened too. I don't know if that's gonna come back to backfire on her. Obviously, with Ian alive, yeah, that's gonna be good.
Yes, she left out quite a bit of stuff because he was kind of asking, like, what, did she bring the poison herself? Like, what happened? And she kind of just skirted away from that conversation. I'm like, so you no problem lying to this man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so some things do not go away. You are who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if you're the good girl, you could have told him everything. Because he would have at least respected the fact, like, okay, she was trying to defend herself. So why would you lie about being the one to put sleeping pills in Jordan's drink and concocting a whole plan to unalive her?
Well, obviously they had to stick, because remember, Victor and the other ladies, her mama and grandmama, they all want to keep that up under wraps. So I don't know.
Most of General City knows. I'm just saying, like, what is Kyle?
Mm-hmm. I mean, he started freaking out about Harrison. Oh my God. She was like, oh, don't worry about that. I'm noticing something. I'm wondering, because looked like she was channeling her Victor / Jordan energy. Because everybody else had an emotional attachment to this entire situation, and Claire was a little bit emotionally detached. She's looking like, yeah, I would have done it. I have no qualms about it.
And, you know, I'm wondering if that's going to come into play later on. But I feel within this particular scenario, she doesn't love Jordan, so she just sees Jordan how Jordan saw the Newmans. So she's kind of giving Jordan a taste of her medicine. But
that's the
how
thing,
calculated.
though. But right, and that's the thing, though, Bree, is that as mad and angry and hateful that you can be at somebody, it takes a little bit more dark energy to say I'm gonna take its life. Because they hate Jordan too, just like they hate Ian, but they would probably rather for him to go to jail versus, you know what I'm saying? Because remember, Claire was the one that pushed her mom and her grandma to go with this plan. Because she was like, if y'all don't do it, I'm doing it. Because they were trying to talk her out of it. As much as Nikki can't stand Jordan, still taking her life was a little bit too much that she could carry on her conscience. Whereas Claire's like, what you mean? Oh, y'all don't want to do it? Oh, don't worry about it. I got it. Y'all, hey, if y'all not in, I do it by myself. She has, and so that's what I'm saying. Is that's what people were saying, that she's channeling her Victor energy.
And she was the whole architect of this whole plan.
Mm-hmm.
Start to finish. Like, I'm going to say this. I'm going to make her feel this way. I'm going to lure her to the property. She's going to do such and such. I'm like, okay. So you haven't lost your touch. She taught you well. Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering if later on that's going to kind of come into play.
Yeah.
Because clearly that hasn't left her. With all the therapy that she got and the redemption that she received, she slipped right back into that dark mode rather quickly.
Yes, she did. And she was emotionally detached.
Mm-hmm.
Because even Victor questioned them, like, what was y'all thinking? Did y'all plan this out? And Claire was like, no, I will figure that out later.
Mm-hmm.
That girl right there, I don't think, I mean, Kyle, she played Miss Innocent Schoolgirl for the last 8 months. These last couple weeks, she went to the dark side.
Rather quickly. J Money said, nah, I'm with Claire all the way. Jail doesn't hold these people. Get rid of them permanently. Claire is my type. Oh, she's your type, Jay? Okay. Well, you could have done for Johnny Bravo.
I'm assuming Jay like toxic and chaos.
Clearly. You know what? There's a certain type for certain people.
Right.
Now, did you like the good girl side or you like the dark twisted side, Jay? But I agree with that. But once again, if she's portraying like this good girl sort of thing, even her mom was like, we need to go to Victor and see how my dad is going to handle it. Claire wanted to handle this all on her own. Like, she was very confident in doing so. Yeah. A good girl wouldn't want to have a body on her hands.
Geraldine Copeland in the chat, and if you're new here, welcome. She said even Victoria was a little bit afraid of her idea. Yeah, because remember when she talked to her mom, meaning Nikki, when Victoria and Nikki had a conversation. Victoria was like, what am I dealing with here with this? This girl here got something that I didn't expect to see. And so Nikki kind of gave her, well, look, she's been groomed by her crazy Aunt Jordan for the last 20 years. So obviously they see that other side of her. I got to give it to Haley Aaron. I don't know if I was that this week or last? That was last week.
I think it was last week.
Yeah, I think I gave her the star of the week. But Haley Aaron switched so quickly because she went from this innocent girl who ain't never had schmecks to this girl that could take somebody out without even thinking about it.
Yes. And you know what's interesting is the way that she articulated her plan to Jordan about taking Victoria out and then taking, her inheritance or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you pulled that from out of thin air?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. I mean,
Huh.
her mind switched so quick and so much that Jordan, for a minute, was believing this girl. She had the teacher fooled.
Yes. But did she have the teacher fooled? Or is this going to be the end game for Claire? Because she said she was playing the long way about it. And I can see her following through with this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's like she really, it came off like she pulled it out of thin air, unless this is something that she's already had planned, already concocted, because she's been groomed and trained by the best on how to dupe people.
Mm-hmm. Plus, she got Victor Newman in her blood too. It's kind of like we were talking about Luna. If this is Finn's kid, she got Sheila Carter in her.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, we can't wait to get to that. But that dark, twisted side clearly hasn't left Claire, and I would not put it past her for her to come out with that plan that she laid out for Jordan about how she's going to unalive her mother and get this inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind, Claire was the one who crushed those sleeping pills. As far as we know, we haven't seen what happened to Jordan. We just know that she croaked and laid up on the couch and they put a cover or a towel over that woman. Mm-hmm. We don't know where her body is.
All we don't heard know is dialogue that she had made from Chance and them that she was in the morgue. That's all we heard. Now, unless we see a scene like what we saw with Sugar and Deacon, like we was talking last week, we really don't know what happened to Jordan.
Exactly. They left that open-ended for a reason, in my opinion. Because normally they would show a body. Same way we saw Heather's body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, they decide to have this woman drink down sleeping pills and then just pass out on the couch, and then we don't even get to see the body. And they can even confirm that she is unalive.
Right.
So I think if they're playing a long way about this, I don't know. I'd be very pleasantly surprised if Claire and Jordan would still be working together. But as far as right now, I guess she's the hero. But she laid out that plan about Victoria a little too well for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was too easy for her.
Yep.
And the fact that she was just willing. She played too in the middle. She's telling, Victoria and them, oh, I got this. I'm gonna take care of this. I'm gonna take her out. I'm done with this. And then you go on the other side and flip the script in your head and tell Jordan, oh yeah, I'm gonna get rid of my mom and take the inheritance money. I'm like, ooh, y'all don't know what y'all got amongst y'all. And if Summer need to be careful. Don't play with that girl.
Clearly.
And Kyle don't know what he's dealing with.
And I think that might eventually come into play too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But only time will tell.
We also had a separate conversation between Adam and Nick in that car. And I honestly think that Adam was genuinely afraid and wondering what life would be without Victor in the family. Now, Nick, he didn't want to think about it. And he was like, yeah, I don't think about that. I just deal with it when it comes. But right now, he's okay. So let's go with that. And Adam is like, look, if something happened to him, what does that mean about me being in this family? Did you hear the type of answers that Nick gave? I was confused. I'm like,
me too.
He was like, well, if you act this way, then it will be this way. But we gonna treat you however you choose to act. And I'm like, that ain't how that works.
That's not even reassuring.
Right.
It's either you have unconditional love for your brother or you don't.
Yeah.
So, because Victoria's going to treat Adam any kind of way. Like once Victor's gone, she can write Adam off completely and not have any relationship with that man.
And that's what he's worried about. And based on Nicholas's answer, he kind of got a confirmation of that. Victor is the one that's holding them together, because Victor was the one that pushed for, Victoria to be cool with Adam, Nicholas to be cool with Adam, and Adam to be cool with his siblings. And so if, like Adam said, Victor ain't gonna be here forever, this family gonna fall apart. And honestly, I can agree with him on that.
Yes. And you know what's going to make them really fall out is who gets to control Newman Enterprises.
But he was saying, remember, because that was the thing Nick said. Nick said, oh, you talking about the business. He was like, no, I'm talking about within this family dynamic. Where did that lead me? Are y'all going to still invite me over for dinner? Can I still hang around with y'all at the ranch? Or y'all going to be like, well, we really didn't like you in the first place. We only did this because Pops told us to.
And in actuality, that is what happened. Victor forced their hand for them to get along. That's why he put Adam and Nick in the same position so they can work together. And it seemed like it was working. But then you got Nick want to play Captain Save One from all the women that Adam's interacted with. But it would make sense for Adam to think about what his role would be, given that he's the outcast of that family.
Right.
So the fact that Nick is just brushing it off was annoying, because Nick has nothing to worry about. Everybody loves Nick in the Newman family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but even Abby, really, she don't have nothing to worry about. Plus, she got two families she can run to. She's an Abbott, she's a Newman, and she's married to Chancellor / Winters, so yeah, Abby ain't got no issues. What you say?
He can just pick a last name.
Right. But I don't blame Adam for, because it scared him. This man is like, listen, I could walk up in here and he got shot. He could have died, and stuff like that. So
yeah.
But, I don't know. I wish those two would, because when we get a moment of civility with those two, I think it's a good thing. I like seeing Adam and Nick get along.
Yes, I loved it. They acted like real brothers for 6 months.
I guess I thought it was a week, but
I'm going to be generous and say 6 months, because we saw like really good scenes. Even Nick was giving him advice at one point about Connor. Like, it was peaceful, and then they threw women into it, and then all of a sudden Nick wants to save these women from Adam. I'm like, sir, you are no different, no special, no nothing.
Right. So,
hey, Keish.
What'd you say?
I think Keish is on.
Hi.
Hey, Keish. She said hi, sneaking in through the back door.
I gave up. I gave up on Y&R.
Why? It was boring.
I didn't finish it.
Which part?
I couldn't. I ended at Chance was at the ranch talking to them after the whole Ian incident. I couldn't even tell you what happened. I just couldn't. I couldn't pay attention for some reason. I tried.
It was boring.
It was a bit boring.
What'd you say?
I said it was
boring.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I just.
So what day did you leave off on? Today, Friday's episode, or Wednesday, or what?
I think this is Wednesday.
Oh, dang.
So wait, what is it today? Oh no, it's Thursday's episode.
Okay.
It was the middle of Thursday's episode.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you saw, and that was a very annoying episode for the 30th. It's like they repeated everything we saw on Wednesday.
Yeah, they did.
Majority of the episode, and then they added little tidbits towards the end.
They gave us a bunch of. Was that the one that gave us a bunch of flashbacks about everybody's history with Ian?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the women, Sharon and Mariah, were calling out Ian while he was just laying there on the gurney, not
Right.
hearing anything. Like, okay.
Oh man. Anyway, we covered the thing with Claire. We covered that stupid piece of dialogue with Tessa.
Mm-hmm.
We even talked about Nicholas talking to Chelsea, but that was in today's episode, so you probably didn't see that.
Yeah.
Which he was getting on my nerves. We was talking about how he caping for Chelsea, and it's like, dude, find something to do. We did not talk about because I just kind of want to leave that ranch piece last, but we didn't talk about Daniel. Did you see that part? Nope, that would have been today's episode, Keish.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll listen to you guys talk about it.
Yeah, Daniel, it wasn't feeling it. He's like, yeah, I hear you. Sharon didn't kill Heather, and it was Ian and Jordan, and they framed me, and he was like, yeah, but you framed me.
Yeah. He was heated about that. He was like, okay, yeah, fine. So my wife was unalive for no reason because of you and your daughter.
See, this is where they screwed up, Bree. Originally, when all this started to happen, they tried to link Paul as part of the vendetta, and then they removed it. So remember, that was the biggest thing, because Ian had issues with all of these folks. But then they turned around and changed it and only made it about Mariah and Claire.
Yeah, that was so sad. Like, the ending to all of this was just, it was just very dismal for me.
What you say?
It was just dismal. Like, they did all these twists and turns, and like Daniel said, Heather was unalive for no reason. Like, I would have loved for them to have brought back Paul, because it was his daughter. He also has a dealing, he used to deal with Ian as well. And like, just all of this, they put Daniel and Lucy through this for nothing.
Mm-hmm. So Heather and Tom Starr could be like, dang, we got unalive for no reason.
Okay. Right. And then, like, Sharon still framed this man. She still dunked the body. Like, even if she was on PCP, like, she's exonerated from all charges.
Because I told you, I remember I said this back in the fall, because that was the biggest thing that we were saying, like, man, even though she didn't take Heather's life, she still did all this other stuff, dumped the body, and the first thing I said, they're going to use that PCP to wipe away this whole thing, and they did.
That is so sad. I feel Daniel's pain. Like, if it was me, I'm going after her civilly, because that still put me through some emotional turmoil. I'm going to get something out of this, some sort of justice.
Here's the thing, and this is where I agree with you and Daniel on this one. The reason why is, even though there was PCP in her system, she didn't have to go over to that house. The PCP didn't make her say, I'm going to go there. She could have just laid out on the floor, maybe was acting crazy around the house, or any of that type of thing. She made a choice with that PCP in her system to go over there. If she hadn't went there, there would have been no reason for Jordan and Ian to follow her there.
And exactly. And keep in mind, she was at the same hotel that Jordan and Ian were at. So it made it easy for them to follow her.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the PCP is not going to make you all that calculated to where you're disabling Heather's phone and pinpointing it to where it was Daniel, and then going back into the house, planting the evidence, removing certain things, and like all of that was so calculated on that woman's part.
Right. Exactly.
And you have Nick just quick to jump in and defend Sharon, like, oh, it was the PCP. She wasn't in her right mind. You need to forgive her. Like, shut up. That man, Daniel, still went through hell. He was arrested. His name was plastered everywhere. He wasn't even able to grieve the loss of his wife. Nothing.
Yep. So,
and that's why I'm on Phyllis's side most of the time, because I'm like, that's her baby. He went through all of this, and Sharon went through with her hands clean, basically.
Yeah, well, the way that both Michael and Nicholas call Sharon as a victim, and parts of it she was being in the sewer, which technically I gotta say I don't know about that, because she should have stayed home on New Year's Eve.
Yep.
You going out by yourself without security. I mean, you tell Daniel to get security, but you don't get none.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She could have went with her children. She's rich enough she could have people over her house. She could add catering. She could have had all these other things. Why does she need to step outside of her house? Right. Only for her to get herself caught up.
Exactly. So I mean, there's some things that Jordan did. Even she put herself in open game for somebody to attack you in the parking lot because she shouldn't have been there. When you know that there's a unaliver out there trying to take your life. On the flip side, she had no business. Like I say, if she hadn't went there, they wouldn't have been there. At that
is true.
I mean, because and then like you said, calculated. She put alcohol in. I mean, she put poison in the alcohol.
Poison.
Yeah, and then she turned around and said, "Oh, wait a minute, I shouldn't do this," and then get caught up with the whole thing when Heather walked in the door.
Yep. And then cleaning up at all the blood stains, and then dumping the body, and then when there was questions surrounding her, she's just like Jenna was saying, she's gaslighting Daniel, making it feel like he did it. And he's still trying to grieve and try to help his daughter grieve. Like, this was all calculated still on that woman's part. It couldn't all be PCP. But that's just me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she is bipolar. So I don't know if the combination of the illness and the medication, who knows. It's just that I'm glad that this part is over with, because we've been dealing with this storyline since May of last year.
Jesus, almost a year.
Almost a year, because again, and we say this every time we come on this live, they keep adding things to it. They made the first part of the storyline had to do with the facts that her meds were off, and that Faith and Lucy was too close of friendships, and Lucy was being obsessive, and the parents got mad, and then it turned to fights, and then Cassie got thrown, and then Cameron cursed it, and then they kept adding stuff to this, so it made it so drawn out.
Gail Lewis asked, what do we think about the ghostly Cameron appearing this week?
Yeah, well, he came back to say goodbye. I'm like, okay.
We had to see the bloody shirt again. and she was hugging him, like, so you're hugging the air.
Right.
But you're supposed to be clear with regarding your meds. Okay.
Well, it was still, remember, she had just got back, so obviously it must have been some residual, because she could barely walk out of that. I guess it was a hole she climbed. I saw stairs, but, And
she walked up there with heels still. I would have got them heels off.
Yeah.
just all of it was just a mess. Only for the way it ended with Jordan and Ian, I'm like, this was the result. I feel Daniel's pain. Like this was all she was unalive for nothing.
Yep.
Nothing.
It would have made more sense if they were going to take out the Heather character to attach Paul to the vendetta.
I agree, especially since he was attached with Nikki and he also had issues with Ian as well.
Right, exactly.
That made perfect sense for Ian to target Heather to get at Paul, especially regarding the fact that he was the real father of Dylan and not him. Like there's so many things that could have went about that.
Yeah, well, they dropped the ball on that, but originally they hinted that was the case, and they took it back. It was part of the November sweep spoilers. And then y'all take it back saying, oh no, it's just about Mariah and Claire.
Yeah, I'm like, that was such a cop-out. And there's no offense to the actress who plays Claire or Mariah. Like, they're talented actresses. It was just the fact that they looped those two particular characters in just didn't make sense for Heather to be unalive.
Right.
Like, I didn't get that. And then they backtracked a lot because they were also going to try to pin it on Phyllis. That never happened.
Well, they were going to pin it on Phyllis, and then there was another spoiler that had to have where both Sharon and Phyllis were supposed to end up down in there, and they cut that too. Yep.
Yeah. They like you said, they'd be flipping the scripts on both shows. It's hard to keep up. Like, good God.
Yep. So, and then we got to talk about what happened at the ranch. So, can we start off by talking about the fact that Ian said that he was in love with Jordan?
I was like, oh.
I mean, listen, they had to be doing something in that motel room with one bed. There's no couches, there's no let out sofas, ain't nobody sleeping on top of that table. So they obviously had to share the bed.
And that brought them closer. So she probably got it in quite a few times.
Girl, something whether he figured that he was in love with this woman. And she was getting jealous in some occasions that we saw.
Yes. So he was able to break down cement, and whatever she did for him, he fell in love with it.
I don't know. I mean, they should have just put them two back together again. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. But no, they're villains, though.
Yeah, but maybe down the line, they left out. But that's what I'm saying. When it came to Jordan, they left that open-ended because we didn't see a body.
What else happened? Okay, so we also, besides that, I brought this up, and I know we've been talking about this in the chat with Michael Baldwin.
Oh, God.
Because when this man held the Newmans, meaning him, the security guard, Nicholas, and Victor at gunpoint. Ian, which is not smart, but he did put an offer on the table for Michael to leave. That should have been Michael's cue to be like, you know what, okay, I'm gonna, don't worry about it, I'm gonna go, he could, even if he kept it to himself, I gotta go get help, I gotta let them know, somebody know what's going on. This fool, not thinking about his wife or his son, he decided that he want to stay there in front of a barrel of a gun with Victor Newman because he see him as his daddy as much as Luna see Bill as her faux daddy. Yeah.
And they both stupid. They both dumb. Like, okay, you can see him as your daddy, okay, but still, you were given the opportunity to walk outside the house, use your cell phone, call for help. There's security on the property.
Right.
Like, you're not using any part of your brain. And you choosing to stay because of Victor? If the shoes were reversed, he wouldn't do that for you.
Girl, wait a minute. He was just disowning this man about 2 months ago.
And he was still trying to prove himself to Victor.
Right.
And you going to stay there? Ian said, like, this has to do with the Newmans. It has nothing to do with you. You're going to choose to stay.
Right.
For what?
If I was Lauren and I heard about that, I'd be like, you did what?
Oh. That's why I said in the chat, I hope she has a side man, a side piece, because there ain't no way she sees her husband at all. Like, she probably sees her husband maybe 20% of the time because he dedicates his life to Victor.
This man will give up his life for that man. I mean, this man been put into a Peruvian prison. I mean, Michael helped him out by saying, listen, you can't hold, even though she crazy, you can't hold a villain under your house. So let's do this the right way, even though Ian got her out. But let's do this the right way and keep you out of trouble. And he got mad and said, you betrayed me. I will never trust you again. And then you're going to stand in front of a barrel of a gun because you see him as your daddy. Yeah, okay.
Well, he sees you as an employee. And how good is that money coming from Victor? Girl. That you're willing to risk your life on top of risking your life multiple times. This man has been treating you like dirt, and you still trying to be a lapdog, be underneath this man's good graces. And you're given an opportunity to save yourself, and you want to just hang out with the Newman crew. Like, come on. Simp. That is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, and then you supposed to be a legal attorney, but you gonna join yourself in that whole lie because he didn't break onto the ranch. Y'all brought this man there.
Yes. Actually, correct. Michael was already at the hotel.
Right. Victor Newman has summoned you. Because remember, he came up in there with a cute little rose for Jordan. And I'm thinking to myself, Jordan gone.
Yeah, I was like, oh, poor man.
Because he looked visible when he found out that Jordan was gone. Ian looked visibly upset.
Yeah, he was like that was a sure thing that he can come home to and be able to get him some. And he took him away.
Man, But wait, so when he summoned all of them there, so Nikki got there, Victoria, Claire, Adam came in the door, everybody. Here we go with Claire again, running her mouth, poking the bear. And I'm like, this girl, she ain't got no fear.
I don't think it's fear. I think it's just stupidity. She wants to act like she's as tough as her grandfather, but she needs to, stay in her lane. Why are you trying to say, she never loved you? Like, she was missing me. Like, she wanted to really work with me. She had no problem getting rid of you. Like, girl, you can't be quiet.
Right. And he was getting agitated. And I'm like, can you read the room, Claire?
And even her mother was like, leave Claire out of it. They were even trying to say, like, hey, let her go. This has everything to do with us. And she's like, no, I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay.
Yeah, and then he said, you know what, because of what happened with Jordan and the fact that this was because of her, no, she's staying here. She's just as much as a Newman as anybody else in this room. But I'm sitting up there like, Claire, if you don't shut up. That's what I would have been like, pinching. Yeah. Girl, if you don't shut up.
And then Nikki, you're going to approach the man with the gun.
Girl, just crazy. It's like, this man is clearly unhinged. And again, Victor's security team suck because you let this man fool you into taking your gun, sir.
taking your gun and then hitting you in the back of the head, and then we don't see you again.
Right.
And that's the only security guard. I'm like, wait a minute.
Sharon said Ian would be the next bachelor.
Oh goodness! For the love of
You
Ian.
mean the golden bachelor?
Look, Ray Wise is still a handsome man. I mean, he can get him a little something. Get Pam from Bold. That would have been a cute little pairing there. But
Shoot, have Sheila Carter in a triangle between.
Oh, with Jordan. Oh gosh, that would be diabolical. Ooh, I would love to see it. Like I would love to see the little.
Could you imagine that? Keish, I know you sitting back listening, but could you imagine that if there was a triangle between Ian, Jordan, and Sheila Carter?
Who would win? Who you think would win? I don't know what to say about that one. Because we know Sheila's insecure, and we know that Jordan said that she gets jealous.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Ian might be a little bit too much older for Sheila, because Sheila like him young. So,
well, she had Eric.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's possible.
So as long as you got the bank account, I think it don't matter to these women.
You know, Sheila won't love.
I get that this is so. I understand.
What you say, Keish?
Oh, sorry. I was talking to. Just ignore me.
Oh,
I'll put my phone on.
Sorry. But yeah, that would be interesting. But yeah, Claire, I was like, girl, and then Victor gets mad and wants to jump in front of a gun. I'm like, okay. So now both of y'all got a bullet in your belly.
You know what upset me was the fact that Claire, Victoria, and Nikki, they all came down. Nobody could have stayed upstairs to call the police.
Right. I would have been like, y'all going, I'm gonna, girl, just, yeah, they all just came downstairs.
They all just came downstairs. That's supposed to be a multi-million-dollar ranch, so there's no security cameras. Y'all can't see what's going on in the living room. Did the gun go off twice? How did Victor and Ian both get shot?
Victor got shot first.
Yep.
And then he lunged for him to get the gun from him, even with him already being shot. And then when they fell on that couch, it went off again, and Ian got shot.
Mm-hmm. And it took forever for the EMTs, the fire department, to come and show up. They probably tired of them. I feel like they went through 2 or 3 scenes before they finally showed up.
Yeah, because I think they were both losing blood. I mean, Victor's eyes was rolling back in the head, and Nikki is like, look at me. Oh, you so beautiful.
My baby. Oh, I hate that.
And Ian over in the corner trying to get Nick to finish the job, and he was like, that sounds like a great idea, but no.
Look, if Adam had the gun, it would have been done for.
Yeah. Adam was like, okay, well, what's our story? What we gonna say?
They always have Adam coming in on the back end of things, because I feel like he hasn't been too much involved with this story, and then all of a sudden he pops up.
Right.
It was random to throw him into this ending. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then Michael was like, we ain't got to make up a story. It's the truth. Oh, it's some holes in those stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Chance like, mm-hmm. So what type of story you got for me today? I don't say Chance should be sick and tired of all of them.
That's what I'm saying. And he's getting bossed around. Like, they don't even take his doing his job seriously. Nick is telling him, like, don't go to Sharon's. Don't question her. Don't do an investigation. She's tired. Call her or deal with her in the morning. I'm like, what? When
Yeah.
have they ever taken the police seriously? They always boss police officers around on that show.
And I don't know why he wanted to go back to the police force.
Yeah, they don't
Like,
respect him. They go. I mean,
Yeah,
how
never
many
has.
times Nick say, "I'm gonna do what I want to do"? Chance is telling them, "Look, let us handle it." Yeah, right. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
yes. Like,
But
even
everybody wanted him to go back to being a cop. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody liked when he was working in the corporate world, and everybody said Chance needs to go back to being a cop. I'm like, I don't know why, because he's never able to do his job. They just boss him around and they make him look stupid because it's never him that solves the case. It's
You know
always
why?
Victor Newman or everybody else.
We got to see more scenes with him as a cop versus him doing corporate stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did. That's the only positive to it.
Yeah.
Other than that, they always make him look like like he's incompetent,
Right.
like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, yeah, it was so funny. He was like, "You want me to truly believe that story?" And Michael was like, "It's the truth." I'm like, and he looking like, "Okay, yeah, your truth." Oh,
I wish they would at least give him a partner. They can give him another, like, add another cast member and have him be a partner. That way, Chance has somebody to talk to when it comes to like law enforcement stuff, and it's not him talking to just regular civilians about his investigation.
Mm-hmm.
He had that. That was Ray Lazarus.
Yeah, and we see what they did with Ray.
Right.
Yeah, he was so fine too.
He was.
Yeah, that sure
I'm
was.
still bitter about the way they wrote him off the show.
I know, right? Yeah. So, but then they finally showed Nikki, Sharon, and Mariah had their little eulogy to say before they pulled him out the house, which was interesting because people was like, why didn't they cover his face if he was really gone?
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Do you think them two EMT drivers are in on it? Or he just happened to just wake up?
I mean, that would have to be like really orchestrated by Ian. Like he had to have like deep pockets to be paying them off to be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm gonna say no, but you'll never know unless, because they did bring up the fact that he was in the cult. Maybe they could have been underneath his cult or his wing and doing this for him. I don't know.
No.
But the fact that this man woke up. He woke up. So he's still alive. He's still around. That's why I feel that Jordan's still alive and still around.
No, I guess we'll find out.
Did they pronounce him?
They did. Yeah, because they touched him on the neck and they asked, "Is he gone?" And they said yes.
And then he wakes up in the EMT.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know if he was faking. Maybe he passed out, and but I don't know. I guess we'll get some sort of an explanation on what the deal is with Ian.
Yeah, because something is just not right. And then they said, and they keep saying that, oh, he's in the morgue, or they took his body or something. Mm-hmm. I don't like. The man woke up. This is the same man who put somebody in place of Jordan in the prison. Mm-hmm. So he has no problem taking somebody's life just to protect his own and make it seem like it's him. So I don't think we've seen the last of Jordan or Ian, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Yep. And then it looked like Victor, the bullet went straight through. They said if it was a little bit higher, it would have been a different story. So Victor lives another day. So
he had more than 9 lives. He done bought several lives.
I gotta say though, a lot of the stuff that Ian was saying to them, there's a little bit of facts behind it though. So
yep. Sure was. He missed nothing.
Absolutely not. Especially when he got on Victoria. I was like, oh God.
What did you gonna say, Keish?
What'd you say?
I thought you was gonna say something.
Uh-uh.
Yeah. So yeah, some of that stuff that Ian was like, I'm like, well, I mean, he
He
ain't
was
lying
talking
about
about
that.
Adam being the forgotten son, always having to prove himself, and I
Mm-hmm.
think Victoria being without a man, and she puts all her energy into her work because that's the only thing successful. Like it was like, oh God.
I know, right? It was funny because I was I brought my laptop in the kitchen while I was watching it, and I'm just cooking and carrying on. And when I heard him just reading all of them, I was rolling. I'm like, well, he ain't lying.
Nope. Not
Oh, okay. Did
Nick
we?
being a dumb son.
Right, he sure did. He threw Nick way under the bus, and I'm like, well, yeah.
Yep.
All right. Did we cover everything?
I believe we did.
Okay. All right. How many people we got in the chat?
Oh goodness. We got 105.
Oh, nice. Okay. Make sure you guys hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Make sure the notifications are set to all, so you get to hear the recaps, the spoilers, and the live chats. We're also on other platforms, Facebook, outside of YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Threads, and there's a blog. So the spoilers for the week of February 3rd through the 7th are already up. And some of you guys that are in the Facebook group, you probably have seen it because I did post both shows spoilers for next week. So they are there. All right. And we're going to go ahead and move on to Bold. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Let me pull up the summary.
Let me get my Alka-Seltzer.
Uh-oh. Girl, you Girl, you silly. All right. For the Bold and the Beautiful for the week of the 27th through the 31st. Lee questions Luna's paternity to Finn, and Jack has a run-in with Sheila. Jack digs for answers, and Finn grows agitated over the question of Luna's paternity. Jack makes amends with Lee, and Finn asks Poppy if he's Luna's father. Ridge warns Steffy and Daphne, and Poppy claims Finn is not Luna's father. And then Daphne put the moves on Carter, and Finn secretly planned a paternity test. Let's get this short. This Daphne, and because the rest of this week was mainly about Luna. And
yeah.
Yeah. So
February sweeps is about Luna.
I know Jay is not a fan of the lovely Daphne Rose. I mean, she does have some short sentences. When she did come up to Carter at the end of the episode, she did have a few things to say, which I'm like, okay, we're getting a little bit more dialogue. It's almost like she's trying to use her French side more, because she said merci when Hope gave her a compliment. Yeah, she tried to be mysterious or something like that. So, I mean, you got some folks that enjoy her, and some folks that's like, yeah, I'm not feeling her. So,
I don't mind her. I'm with Jenna. Like, I don't mind Daphne. Like, I think she's just playing up to that sort of French sort of role, being the mysterious one. Because the thing is, she can't talk too much. She's got to leave some sort of mystery so she can do what she came on the show to do. But like, she's a beautiful actress. I think, she's been on the show for like about a month, trying to fill out her character. There's like a lot of the new people had to fill out their character. So I don't have an issue with her. I know Jay is kind of like, ugh, with her. Where are you, Jay? I know you in the chat.
talking about your girl now. But, I want to still kind of give her a chance. I want to see like how things play out later down the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm curious. I want to see whether Carter is going to give in, because he still haven't told her about the flirtatious little thing with the scarf last week.
It seems like a lot of people like Daphne.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with her. I like the seduction type of thing. It's like the flirting and yeah. So I mean, Hope is blind. Hope is just oblivious. She's like, oh yeah. I mean,
I love her. I love her style. You like anybody with style because you don't got any. So.
Oh man! And then we did see Hope try to tell Carter, I know you got to be enchanted or something." And he was like, "I'm enchanted by you." I'm like, "Okay."
Mm-hmm. Very smooth. Very smooth. Mm-hmm. Not to get in trouble.
He was like, "Don't hit me with a trick question."
But Cheryl Hines, yeah, Audra is J Money's girl, but Daphne is really his girl. That's his favorite person. That he lives to see this woman on the show.
Yeah, okay. don't trigger him.
Well, yeah. Where are you, Jay?
He probably stepped away or something.
Oh, but yeah, he's not into the Daphne character, and I feel like there's mixed reviews either which way on the show. Mm-hmm. But I think that's just any new character. I think when she kind of fills into her role, feels more comfortable with it, I think we might get more dialogue as well. But we get to see the actress feel a little bit relaxed. I think J Money said that she's a bit stiff on camera, but we also said the same thing about Claire at one point. Mm-hmm. And later down the line, the actress felt comfortable within that role, and we got to see amazing scenes, especially last week from Haley Aaron. So I'm going to give this actress who plays Daphne a chance. Like, it's only been a month, at least for me. Like, I'm going to give her a chance.
Yeah. The interesting thing is that the way they make this girl fragrance smell, it's like, dang, I want to know what it smells like.
Me too. Because we were talking about different fragrances in the group chat. I was like, ooh.
Mm-hmm. But she come in the door. She tossed her hair around and they smelled it. I'm like, dang. Can I find some fragrances that I could just walk down the street and throw my hair around and everybody around smell it or whatever? But it was funny how they do that. Melissa says she don't like Daphne. I don't trust her. The actress that plays her said that nobody will expect what is coming for her next, and it's got nothing to do with Carter. Well, according to the spoilers for February 4th, she gets acquainted with Zende.
I kind of look forward to seeing that because we haven't seen Zende too much, and he hasn't had a romantic partner, like for a real romantic partner since Paris.
Yep, that is true.
Yeah, but so what if she does get into a little something with Zende? How you gonna keep that up, trying to seduce Carter out of that position?
They just need to tell Zende what's going on.
I agree. Because even he asked his Eric and Ridge, like, what's Steffy's plan so he can be aware? Well, now it's time to make her aware. And they both could be working together and have a secret, little something while trying to get the company back.
Sharon in the chat says she needs to find a fragrance to hide her being gay.
Oh.
Oh,
is there one?
Huh?
I don't know. Is there one? I thought they come unscented now. Yeah. Some have scented and some are unscented. I don't know.
And the one
The one.
Yeah, we don't leave that alone.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
Lordy.
but yeah, we'll see if this is gonna work. I don't know. It's mixed reviews. You got some people like, oh yeah, he gone, and then there's other folks like, nah, I don't think it's gonna work.
I don't think it's going to work out because Steffy is being too heavy handed with any Daphne can get any man to fall for her. I think the exact opposite is going to happen. I think Carter now may look like he's intrigued by her, but ultimately I don't think Daphne is going to be able to snatch him away from Hope.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I feel it's going to be Hope who's going to break up that relationship.
I guess we shall see. Speaking of this other part of the storyline between the conversation we saw today between Hope and Steffy. Steffy is really trying to play nice. And she seemed to be doing a good job of it, but Hope is like, well, wait a minute. You ain't criticizing nothing? Go ahead.
Yeah, and I didn't even understand Hope's reaction to that because when has Steffy ever not like Zenday's design? Like anytime we've ever seen her Zenday show her designs, she gives him honest feedback and she'll tell him if she likes it or not. It's not like, she is looking for Zenday to fail. Even when Brooke did the bedroom line, she didn't like it. She didn't want Brooke to be the center of it, but she congratulated Brooke. She talked about how successful it was and how well it was doing for Forrester. So I don't understand why Hope thought that Steffy was gonna, I guess, crap all over what Zenday did.
And that's family.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. It's almost like she was just looking for an argument or, like she was trying to poke at her. She didn't get the reaction that she wanted. She thought Steffy was going to, say, like she said, she thought Steffy was going to say something snarky, and she didn't. She said, oh, those are nice.
Mm-hmm. And then she was like, well, this leadership is going to stay. It's not going to change. And, Steph was like, okay. And Hope is looking down at her, down her nose at her. And I'm like, girl.
Like, get a grip.
Get a grip on yourself. You know nothing about running a company. The only reason that man is in charge is because he enjoy your box. For now.
Basically. that sums it up correctly. Because even when Carter and Hope had their scene, like, she was just highlighting the fact that how things have benefited her. I got hope for the future back. The line is doing well. My mom is CEO. And I don't have to deal with Steffy. Mm-hmm. Didn't discuss anything that had to do with Carter, except for the fact, like, oh, you have your luxury blend line. I support that. Mm-hmm. And that was it. Yes. She does not care about this man.
Yeah, she's stringing this man along. She likes the attention. And she likes the fact that she got what she want. And the fact that he's interested in her. She used that to have him execute this whole thing. Because when we saw in the previews for next week, Carter was like telling Brooke, I ain't want to do none of this. I'm like, well, what you do it for? You done broke up your little bromance with Ridge, and Eric ain't gonna see you the same way because, you already had one strike with him before.
Right.
And so if you really didn't want to do this, you only did it because Hope? Yeah. Okay.
I'm tired of him and Hope both acting like they were forced into taking control of the company. Because they keep saying, this isn't what we wanted. We didn't want to do this. Okay, so if you didn't want to do it, then you should just not have done it.
Right.
Nobody forced you to take over the company.
Right. You could have worked someplace else or started your own business.
Yep.
That was always an option.
Yep. Totally agree with that. So, I'm like, yeah, so because they got the Forresters are gonna have to get their company back pretty soon. They can't let this go on too long. It just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. That's a very valid point, Sharon. She said, all of a sudden, Zen designs are fabulous. Was RJ designing most of the pieces before? So,
Well, that's the thing is I don't think anybody ever said Zenday's designs were bad. For whatever reason, they just don't work for Hope for the Future, and they weren't selling.
right.
But I don't ever I don't ever remember like Steffi or Eric or Ridge or even Hope saying, "Man, Zenday, these are terrible. You need to go back and start over." Or like, I've never heard Zenday get negative feedback on his designs. It's just, I guess, it's just not for the Hope for the Future crowd, and it's just not selling for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, Hope is supposed to be the visionary. She's the art director of that line, and they have to convey what she views for the line each season. So spring and fall, it was just trash. Her vision is just trash. We see how she be dressing. Mm-hmm. Like they're just not, how many designers did she have on that line? She had Thomas, she had Ridge, she had Eric, she had Zende, she had her baby brother who had no experience. Mm-hmm. And they all couldn't convey her vision. Mm-hmm. And she failed all quarters last year.
Yep. You are right.
So it's the visionary. Because even Steffi was like, look, Zende, your talent can be used elsewhere for other lines. Mm-hmm. So his talent was never in question. It was just a visionary for Hope for the Future. And clearly she didn't see much of a future for herself because she was too worried about what another man was doing.
Right. Yep. I agree. All right. I'm trying to think. I think that besides this whole Luna, Bill, and Poppy, and Lee, and Jack thing, those were the only two extenuating storylines that we had, right?
Yeah, and the Bill and Luna thing, and
Bill and Luna have been talking in circles about their parents for like 3 weeks now.
Yeah, exactly. I said that in one of my recaps. I'm like, why are we continuously recycling the same conversation? I mean, to me, filling that scene in took away from other stuff that they could have talked about. I mean, if you want to throw it in there every now and then, but it's like, let's talk about our parents again. Let's talk about our moms. Right. And I'm like, what's up with the trauma bonding?
Yeah.
What'd you say, Keish?
I was just saying our parents and how awful they were, how awful our moms were.
Yeah, I was over it. I'm like, we got to do this again. And then Bill even said in today's episode, we've been talking about this for so long. And I'm like, you sure have.
Right, because he's not talking about work, not talking about a long-term plan with keeping her at that house under house arrest, because he didn't had how many people come through the house already? Right. He's not even trying to come up with the long-term plan, but they're just talking about like, oh, I grew up this way. My mother was this way. My dad was trash. Like, you have nothing better else to discuss. And I didn't like the fact that, even though it's true, I didn't like the fact that Bill was coming down on Poppy the way he was. Because I'm like, sir, you still dated her. You still encouraged this girl to take her mints and dance in front of you, and you had no problem sleeping with her and moving her into your home.
Wait, Bree, you want a good one? Because remember in today's dialogue, he said, that's why I never called her again, because she reminded me of my mom. But when she came back a year or so ago, he was like, I never forgot about you.
Right. Never forgot about you. Something about your smile. I've been like... This man was like all for her. Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden that changed. And that's why I said he never loved this woman. He loved the fact that she was able to open herself up, no pun intended, to him. Mm-hmm. So
he even begged that girl to move into the house. Because remember, she was like, oh no, we can stay at our apartment. He was like, no, y'all moving in here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this horrible woman. He had no problem being with this woman, but now that all this stuff comes out, he doesn't want to be with Poppy. And Poppy was actually innocent of the fact that what happened with Tom and Hollis. So he couldn't visit Poppy in jail, but went to the ends of the earth to get Luna out and put her in house arrest underneath his roof.
Right.
So that was so irritating to me that he even was talking down on Poppy. I'm like, you had no problem with this woman months ago.
Yeah, it's so many rewrites in this whole thing. It's like wait a minute, what? That ain't how that happened.
Right.
And didn't he have a sit-down conversation with Lee saying that he's welcoming Lee into the family because Poppy wasn't going anywhere?
Right.
He sure did.
Yep.
So
see, and writers, if you are listening to this podcast, we know that you hid season 37.
Yeah.
So you don't want us to go back and connect all the dots to keep the continuity to show y'all that y'all be flipping the script. We supposed to flip the script over here, not you. I guess.
And I was digging. They completely removed every ounce of season 37. Like even on YouTube, on the CBS account, you can't even find like any of the clips. You can't, like, nothing, absolutely nothing. And I wonder why.
Yeah, because all of the rewrites.
Because I could pinpoint episodes in regards to this Finn and Luna storyline.
Yep.
Just,
it's crazy.
This man was all for Poppy, all for her, until she got arrested and he didn't even bother to see her. But he saw Luna more times in jail than he saw Poppy, and Poppy was innocent.
What I didn't like about Bill is that he wanted to confess his deep, darkest things about his childhood to Luna, but not Katie.
Right.
He even said my Katie.
Yeah, he said my Katie. And the thing is, this is a woman you had a kid with, you was married to, and everything else, and you couldn't tell her that, but you can tell lunatic Luna.
Right. That was, I'm like, okay. And he was talking about like how his mother was, and we touched on it a little bit in the group chat. Like, Bill was just created out of nowhere. Bill Jr., because Bill Spencer Sr., he had 2 daughters. He never had a son. He always wanted a son. That was put into storylines in the early seasons. And it was Bill Spencer Sr. and Caroline until she passed, and then they brought on Karen, who was a twin sister. There was never a son. They only brought this man back. They brought on this character just because Don DeMont was coming on the show. So for them to create this backstory, and they did a lot of rewrites with this. Like, he never got along with his father, but he loved his mother, and then now all of a sudden his mother is trash.
Yeah,
that made absolutely no sense. When there's dialogue episodes where
he said he never met his father, but then you talked about how your father was hard on you early back in the day. Which one is it, y'all?
Exactly. Because I can pinpoint those episodes. He said, I never dealt with the man, never cared for the man. He sat in front of Stephanie and said that. I remember that clear as day. That he never had a relationship with his father. But now you get in front of Luna, he was hard on you. Your mother was trash. Your mother was similar to Poppy, which that is insane because Will Spencer Sr. was a traditional man. He was never going to get with the 304, even though he got with Margot, but still. Just a lot of unnecessary rewrites just to try to fit a square into a circle. Like, this is just crazy to me.
You got anything, Keish?
I've always been annoyed with the way that they have reconnected Bill back to the Luna story and having him do all that he did to get her out of jail so she can serve her time in her house. It never made sense to me that they had him do that, considering he wasn't with her mother anymore. Now, if him and Poppy were still together, I would understand it, because he, wants to do something to help out his girlfriend. And if he was still like enamored with Poppy the way he was when they first met, it would make sense. But they had started to kind of like rewrite the way he saw Poppy even before they found out that Luna did what she did. Because we would hear Poppy tell Bill that she loved him, and she would get no response. So it's like they had completely rewritten the way he treated her before the whole Luna thing blew up with her murdering those two guys.
Mm-hmm.
And this would have made so much more sense if they had kept Poppy and Bill together, and he was doing this for Poppy because he wanted them to be the little family that they all talked about months ago. But just the randomness of him bonding with Luna for no reason. There's no reason for any of this. They could have kept Luna in jail and just had people go to jail and visit her for conversations. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And all, like you guys said, all the rewriting that they're doing as far as like Bill's past, and then the way that he is coming down on Poppy, which like Bree said, is true, but just the way that he's coming down on her like parenting skills or whatever it was that he was saying about her the last few weeks, it's kind of like, well, this is kind of gross. Like, why do you feel that way about her now? He doesn't know any of the stuff that we know. All he knows is what, the things that he knows of Poppy from being with her. And this wasn't his narrative before. So it's just, like you said, T, just the rewrites are all over the place, and they just don't make any sense.
Random. Mm-hmm. And in season 37, this man was praising Poppy for being a strong mother, a loving mother. I think there was a scene between Bill and Luna in their apartment, and Luna was upset with her mother, and he was talking about like how amazing she is and she should be grateful and this and this. So where did all that go?
Right.
Yeah.
But I just don't even like, this is the same girl that not only killed two people for no reason, but at the same time, this girl also kissed you in the mouth twice. And I didn't think about this part too, Bree, what you were saying about the fact that when Poppy was in prison, you didn't give 2 cents about coming up there to see her. She didn't even do it. But then you can come in here and figure out what's going on with Luna. Then you pull this girl out of the prison to go into house arrest in your house.
Yep.
And didn't tell her mother. Because now we saw today's episode, Poppy went up there looking to the prison like, where my daughter at?
Right.
He had to realize that somebody had to come looking for her. Did you not think her mama was going to eventually come looking for her?
Exactly. Or have any questions. Like, this was just bizarre. His actions were bizarre. Like him reading that girl's letters in general after everything that she's done to the family. Yeah. You're entertaining that.
Yep.
But didn't want to give the benefit of the doubt to Poppy when she was locked up. But you moved heaven and earth for the person who actually did the unaliving.
Yep. That I don't even understand this whole thing. This connection, him telling this girl his deepest, darkest secrets, and I'm thinking like, why would you do that?
And the crazy part was this girl, even after all of this, even after kissing this man twice, I really wish I had a dad like you.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So that's even, I know we talking about, we'll eventually get to the Finn Poppy thing, but even that part, this is a man that you had attraction to, that you acted on, and then you want to say, I wish I had you as a daddy.
Yeah. And you were in your You were clear-headed. You weren't on PCP like Sharon was. You were probably handing it out and putting it in people's water bottles. Like this was just
weird.
bizarre.
I could see him having that conversation about what he didn't tell Katie. Why didn't you have that conversation with Liam?
Yeah. Right. Any of your sons.
I mean, I could understand maybe not Will, but Liam. I mean, Wyatt's not there. But Liam was begging him to say, look, dude, what's wrong? You ain't been coming out the house. You've been locked up in here. I hardly ever see you. Are you okay? And you won't tell him, but you would tell Luna.
Right.
Yeah, that don't make sense to me. I don't know what they're doing over there in that writing room, but I don't like it.
It's just a hot mess. This is why I said they really need a test audience. Writers, producers, if y'all are listening to the podcast, get test audience, especially since you guys film 6 or 8 weeks ahead of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So we can at least evaluate and say, hey, this doesn't make sense. So, look, if you want us at the podcast to look at all the future episodes, look, I'm going to volunteer and say, yeah, we'll do it.
Right.
And if it's terrible, please understand, we're going to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Finisher, I guess that's a new name. Welcome. He said, are you ladies going to cover Beyond the Gates? Absolutely.
Oh, yes. We cannot wait.
Oh, man. Girl, that trailer, those trailers, fire.
Ooh. Yes. Absolute fire. We were just a couple of weeks away. Cannot wait.
The countdown begins as of tomorrow. 24 days. I'm looking forward to it. And an hour worth, too?
Mm-hmm.
Great. He said, yay. Yeah, so make sure you're subscribed, okay? Appreciate it. All right. So now we got to talk about Lee. Because the week started off with Lee wanting to know the results of that paternity test after she stuck Jack a couple times in the arm, and they're begging and pleading with her that we didn't sleep together and blah blah blah, and the test came out negative. And now she's overly apologizing. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. How could I forgive me? Please forgive me. Blah 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 blah. And I gotta make it up to my sister. I hated her all these years because I thought you slept with Jack, which is also a rewrite because her original statement was that she was not happy that she could not bear a child.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I remember that clear as day too.
Yeah, writers, we don't forget stuff like that, okay?
Nope.
So now it went from that because, and then I thought for a second Jack and Lee, are they gonna get back together? Are they trying to, or what they doing?
Look, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. He liked the fact that she stabbed him twice. Because he had a smile on his face when she stabbed him the first time with the needle. This is what they do. He knows her inside out, like the back of his hand. They've been together for at least 30 years. Mm-hmm. So that's all he knows. She's all he knows. Look, if she's able to move past what happened with the Sheila thing, then why not? That's your better half for majority of your adult life. And clearly he still loves you, even after being accused, even, after being stabbed. Granted, he was absolutely wrong making this woman raise Sheila's baby, knowing he fathered that baby by having an affair with that woman.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. He was dead wrong. However, if she's entertaining the fact that, we can make this work and get back together, because she was all smiles too at that table.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? I'm all for that.
Only thing is, go ahead. What you say, Keish?
I was just saying I wouldn't mind seeing it either.
Yeah, I mean the other part of that is that they were saying that he only got a few episodes, but hopefully, maybe we can get him to come back or something, and maybe reconcile and give Lee knock the cobwebs out a little bit. So,
because she needed her son, same way Jordan needed her son, desperately. Like, and look, it's familiar territory, just why not? And the thing is, they extended the what is Ron Howard's brother's name? I can't think of it. The guy who played Tom.
Clint Howard.
He was always supposed. Clint Howard. He was only supposed to be on for like a few episodes, and he had a 2-month arc on the show. Mm-hmm. So anything's possible with the Jack character, and I think they should keep him on. Yeah, they need other men on the show.
Yeah, I know. I wish they would, but I like that we might only seen him this week. He also was there with Poppy having a conversation about what happened at the hospital, and Sheila got in the middle of that conversation. What trips me out is that y'all keep coming to a restaurant where this woman is, but then y'all want her to move around. How about y'all move around?
Right. Like, you have to check to be sure, like, oh, Sheila's not going to be there. You have ability to order out, cook at your own house, anything. But I understand this is the only restaurant on the show. But still, you don't want to deal with Sheila. Don't go to her turf. That's her husband's restaurant. That's her turf.
Right. Her and her husband runs that restaurant, but they dictate with her moving around the restaurant. It's like, listen, you don't want to be around me, you don't have to come here. Like you say, cook at home or something. It's hospital food. Yeah. They could have went to the hospital cafeteria.
Right. anything else. Coffee shop, who knows? Like, why are you going to this woman's restaurant? Because that's her husband's place of business. That's her place of business too. That's her restaurant.
Was that the only? Because I know that's the only eating place. Did they ever have more than one place to eat on this show? I don't remember.
Oh, they've had several different restaurants. Remember they had the Bikini. They had
the bar,
Cafe Bruce. They had quite a few places
that they like within the past 10 years or so.
They had a bikini bar because didn't Ridge meet with Shauna?
Yeah, but that's a bar. I'm talking about like food restaurants. Like, you got Society and you got the GCAC where you can go and eat.
Oh, I guess that might be it. It's the only place. They love pizza. They love Italian food, apparently. That's the only place they have to eat in LA.
Somebody cooking is Pam or somebody at a big dinner or something, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, they's got to suck it up. They shouldn't even be worried about, like, oh, is Sheila going to be there? Sheila can pop up any and every time that she wants to.
Because don't they live on the property?
Exactly.
Yeah, so, I mean, even if she's not working that day, she could just walk through.
Exactly. On her day off. I mean, her husband's there. Yeah. She can be with her man. So, like, if you have an issue, cook at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but she was trying to see if she can tell Jack to tell Finn I said hi. And he was like, no.
You're right, Jenna. This is a low budget show. Yeah, absolutely. Low budget. Low budget. Man. No contract.
The low budget show is right. I mean, oh my God, this has just been insane. And I just cannot believe that we got another February sweeps surrounded by Luna Nozawa.
Mm-hmm.
When we should be focused on some, like Jenna been saying in this chat all night, we need to be focusing on some big, I don't know, fight over trying to get Forrester back. That should be the focal point.
Yep. And it's like sitting in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking that by February sweeps, when they did this whole coup, I thought by now the Forresters would have had something on Carter and was able to get Forrester back. But it looks like they might be in control for a hot minute now.
Girl, and that's not even what the show is supposed to be about. I mean, granted,
Nope.
you're going to have these sideline stories that's going to be like a wow factor, but Forrester Creations is the whole core of this entire show. You know,
yeah. And they're competing with other fashion houses, and we haven't seen another fashion house since Spectra blew up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's when Courtney Hope was playing Sally Spectra, and that was it.
Yep. Which technically, as we always say, I mean, Sally should be over here.
Yep. It would make perfect sense to have Stephanie and Sally 2.0 competing, and Sally should be, stealing designs or competing with the Forresters to some degree. We should be seeing Sally and Thomas going back and forth together, having a love affair. There is just opportunities for more content and more storylines surrounding Sally if they brought her back. But that's just me.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Which now takes us to this whole thing. So now that she got the test results with Jack and Poppy being negative, she tells Finn about it. Finn now has an epiphany all of a sudden that, yeah, I need to talk to Poppy. Which leads us to this crazy, insane conversation on the Wednesday's episode, where we hear a romanticized version of a youthful 18, 19-year-old who come home and do his homework and go out on the roof and look at the moonlight and at night. And his aunt slips out and always sit with him when they start having feelings, and then all of a sudden they end up in his bedroom, and she takes his V card, and she popped pregnant and disappeared, and told him it wasn't his kid, and it was a special moment, and he was of age. And what else was the other defining moment they want us to know?
Oh, that he was adopted, so it was perfectly fine for them to do that.
I was adopted and I was of age, so, but later on I thought it was wrong.
Disrespecting Lee once again.
They making popular like a whole, not just a
trash.
A whole, trash. A whole
trash. Poppy looks like trash right now.
Wait a minute, what did Ridge call Hope?
A worthless.
Yeah. I mean, because not only did she say that there were others around that time, but it was also Bill, it was also Finn, and Tom Starr. And if all of these people, even the ones that we don't know, is around that same time frame of when Luna was conceived, that's a lot of folks within that time period.
That's a cesspool.
Yeah, she slept with, at the very least, she slept with 2 other men around the same time that she took her nephew's virginity.
And she said, I was single. I was young. I was going to be me. I'm like, girl, you're for the earth at this point.
The sexually experienced woman.
How about
sorry. I just can't get past the fact that she was experienced and she thought it was okay to take her nephew's virginity. I just can't get past that.
Yeah, but it was Finn's reaction, like, yeah, you were my first. I'm like, that ain't nothing to boast about.
No, it's not. Yeah, he like very nonchalantly said that. And when Poppy said that what they shared was beautiful, this woman still doesn't think what she did was wrong, even today.
Bree, we know we gotta let Bree, Keish have the flow on this one, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not gonna talk very much.
Take off.
I just think it's gross that
because we know you got a lot to say.
I I just think it's disgusting that she still doesn't think that what she did back then was wrong. And it's just, my mind is blown that they went this direction with this, considering that they've had him for as long as Poppy has been on the screen. They've had him referring to her as Aunt Poppy. It's like, at least when they thought that they were going to do this, they could have at least had it. Not that it would have mattered too much, but they didn't even try to distance the aunt-nephew relationship with him.
Okay, so J Money said, did you see Finn hold her hand?
Yeah, he grabbed her wrist when he was trying to get her to tell him, like, trying to get her to tell him the truth about if he was Luna's father. Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing, is they don't even have, like, the way they have Finn acting right now is not like someone who is terrified that he's getting ready to find out that this 20-something-year-old girl is his daughter. It's almost as if he's mad that Poppy lied to him all this time and that he wasn't there to help her raise Luna.
Yeah,
because
go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, because if I were Finn, I would be frantic right now. Like, I'm probably getting ready to lose my wife and my family. This girl kidnapped my wife, tried to take her out, and she might be my daughter with my aunt. And they got to tell them, they got to worry about Lee. Like, that is the biggest part of this to me, is the way Lee is going to feel when she finds this out. How disrespected would you feel if you found out that you trusted your sister to be there for your son, and this is what she was doing?
Okay,
like, it's not. Yeah.
I'm gonna say something right quick. I didn't like the fact how they made this look like that she was his babysitter, like he was 8 years old. They did that with the beginning of the list this week and last week, talking about, oh my God, you would dare to keep an eye on him and watch him and all that. And I'm like, the dude was 18, 19, whatever, first year of college. I mean, I didn't understand the over exaggeration of her watching him.
Yeah, they had some very weird dialogue choices this week. And to me, it almost felt like some of the stuff that they had them say, like, I don't understand what the writers are trying to do. I feel like, if anything, they should be trying to make Finn sound older, as to not make Poppy sound like a groomer. But the dialogue that Lee used and Jack used, even having Lee throw in there, remember when you were finishing high school and Poppy moved in? And it's like, why would you have her say that? Why would you have her say that Finn was still finishing high school when Poppy moved in? I get that he could have been 18, but just the idea of a high school senior and his aunt, it just makes it sound even worse. And then they throw in that Finn was a virgin. Even worse.
Right.
Like, that makes it even worse. I don't understand why they put those details in there if they're not going to tell a story of Finn being groomed, because that's not what they're going to do. They're definitely going to have Finn make excuses for Poppy and say that he wasn't taken advantage of. So why make him a virgin? Why have Lee say that he was finishing up high school? It blows my mind that those were the dialogue choices that they used this week.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bree.
Oh, goodness. This was just so nasty. And I cannot wait for Lee's reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Dewan, where are you at? Because, correct, Lee was always right. She called out her sister better than anybody. And yes, no, people don't like Lee's delivery, but she was stating facts. She clearly wasn't wrong about her sister and how she moved and how she likes to keep secrets. And this is kind of similar to, especially when they were talking about, like, how Poppy was watching Finn. It was it reminded me of Rick and Amber a little bit because they were even close in age.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, you know you have your sister, and your sister had a adoptive son.
That she's had since birth.
It's okay if you guys never grew up together. Okay, that's fine. But you still knew that when you walked into your sister's house, she had a whole son there. So I'm just not understanding the frame of mind. That's why, for me, the age difference is what matters to me, because if they're a few years apart, if they're that young and dumb like that, then I guess I can see that. But for him to be 18 and for her to be loose like that and sleeping around and, taking pharmaceuticals and just moving the way she was, and then also being so disrespectful to her sister, I can't put anything past a Poppy. And then she's trying to cry and justify it, and it doesn't matter. It's okay. We were young. This is not anything for us to worry about. Luna was crying a good bulk of last year about having a father.
Right.
So it was important to that girl. And then you knew it was important when you went to Finn to ask him to be a father figure for Luna. And you knew you slept with that man.
Go ahead.
So Poppy was always trash. I'm glad I never let off of that woman's neck, because I knew it out the gate. The way she moves is the same way Brooke moves. I'm sorry. The justification, we were in love, and taking no accountability, because she don't feel the least bit sorry. Mm-mm. Especially when it comes to Lee. She gets mad at Lee for Lee telling the truth. But keep in mind, you gaslighting Lee at the same time.
Hold on. Okay, so we're not acting like this is all new. We know Belle has done things like this in the past. We don't have any favorites. If this was Steffy, it would be a different thing. Let's not do that.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't like when it was Steffy and Rick either. I hated that. The Steffy and Rick and Phoebe storyline is my most hated, probably until now. Finn and Poppy and Luna have bumped them down to second. Because I've always seen Rick as a groomer too, where Phoebe and Steffy were concerned. But this, in my opinion, is even worse, simply because
it resulted in a child.
Yes, it resulted in a child. So, permanent reminder of what happened between Finn and Poppy. And the aunt-nephew relationship was basically drilled into our heads the entire time she's been on this show. He calls her aunt. Phoebe and Steffy in their early 20s was not calling Rick Uncle Rick before they started dating him.
Mm-mm.
So that's why this is that much more disgusting and weird. It's different. Poppy and Finn have not moved like they were, in love in the past year and a half that she's been on this show. They've been acting like family. They've been acting like aunt-nephew. And now all of a sudden we find out that this woman that he's been calling Aunt Poppy this whole time took his virginity. That is disgusting.
And this is why I wish they had season 37 up, because I could have swore in the dialogue Finn has said that he used to hang out with Luna, and and he got upset that Poppy took Luna away, and I'm looking back at that now, I'm like, so Poppy still had you around Luna almost as if she wanted you to bond with her.
Right.
For whatever reason.
It was that conversation that they had when RJ and Luna had dinner with Finn and Steffy, and they were talking about embarrassing stories about Luna. He was talking about when he took Luna to the aquarium, and then he took her to a seafood restaurant, and she got freaked out because she had just seen live fish at the aquarium. Like, they talked about stories of how close they were growing up. They literally said that they were close growing up, that Finn was her big cousin that would spoil her. So
Yeah.
so they were there. He did know her. But then this week we hear him say, I didn't see Luna that much. I wasn't around Luna that much. You disappeared. So it's like, again, another rewrite.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going through a lot of trouble that they really could have just, like I was saying before, planted seeds from last year while the material was still there and it was fresh in people's minds. And we could have been kind of more prepared for what the result's going to be, which we know Finn is going to be the father. That look right there on Poppy's face while she's holding on to, I think, the shelves, like, that's not for no reason.
Right.
She knows she's keeping that secret from him. She knows he's the father.
Right.
Otherwise, why are we going down this road?
Right.
But even still, they could have done this last year.
Yeah, they could have, and they didn't, and they pulled it back, and then they went through Bill Spencer and Tom and all of this stuff, only to come back almost to the date a year later, and here we are again.
Mm-hmm.
And even after the back and forth between Poppy and Finn, she says, "You are not this girl's father. You need to leave it alone. You're not her father." And then she goes to the prison to talk to Luna to say, "I need to tell you about your father." So I'm trying to make sense of all of that. You know what I mean? Because it's like, why wouldn't you just go ahead and tell this man? You know you're a doctor. Just like Lee can pull blood and run a test, so can he.
Yeah. And clearly he did.
Right.
He got tired of her life.
She would have better, if this man is truly, Luna's father, your best bet is to start preparing yourself. You might as well tell this man the truth and get ready for the rest. Because telling him he's not the father, knowing that clearly he's not going to leave us alone just because you say so. But then you're going to run. Well, I wonder if Luna was there, what was she going to tell her?
That's what I was wondering.
Right. What is that about?
Maybe she was just going to tell her that Tom Starr wasn't her father and just leave it at that. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just, I just don't. This whole thing is just botched to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree with you. It is. Because like you guys said a year ago when they, I guess, dropped that little nugget when she gave him that look, and that's when everybody was like, oh, she looked at him like that for a reason. But then it was like they did everything to then kind of dispel that.
Avoid it, right.
Yeah. It was like they were trying to it was like they did things to say, no, that's not what we're doing. Because everything that they did last year, now that this is the case, Finn looks like an idiot. It doesn't look like he was being, manipulative or like he was trying to lie or hide something. He just sounds stupid because the only reason why he wasn't suspicious or didn't question her was because Poppy told him years ago that it wasn't him. Like, this is the reasoning that you guys are going with? Finn looks dumb right now. Oh, I didn't question it because she said it wasn't me. Like, you're a doctor. There was nothing in you that made you suspicious after 2 men were tested and both came back negative?
It should have. If he knew, well, obviously this got to be a rewrite. But if you already knew that you slept with this woman around the same time, you knew you was a candidate.
Exactly. So that's why, and that's just exactly why this rewrite makes him look like an idiot. He just looks stupid now.
I was gonna go a different direction. It makes him look more calculated, and he's extremely secretive. That's a secret that you take to the grave with you, clearly. And he was holding on to that tight. And he also knew about the issues between his mother and his sister. And he was trying to tell his mother off, I think, in season 37, you need to get along with your sister. Let the issues you have with your sister go. And meanwhile, your mother senses something's not right.
Yeah. That's another reason why this rewrite makes him look so bad. And I can't even say that Finn looks like he's being calculated or that he's being malicious in this, because he said to Poppy, you told me that it wasn't me and I believed you. You've been lying to me all these years. Like, he's seriously pissed off because he feels like Poppy has been lying to him this whole time.
You don't feel it's calculated?
No, I don't. I think he legit took her at her word and thought she was telling the truth. And I just think that makes him look gullible and stupid.
Which is which is normally how he'll come across anyway.
Right.
I feel like it's very strategic on his part to know that he slept with his mother's sister and to cover his bases to the point where he constantly calls this woman Aunt Poppy. So there's nothing suspicious or there's nothing that would be to be suspected between the relationship between him and Poppy.
I don't know.
I don't think that's it at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's not.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't think I call it suspicious. I just think that this writing is just all over the place.
Yeah. He just looks dumb. This isn't Finn being manipulative. This is just Finn being an idiot. Because if it was him trying to cover his tracks and trying to keep secrets and hide things, he wouldn't even be approaching Poppy about this right now. He would still act like, oh, okay, you said it's not me? Cool. He wouldn't even ask her about this because he knows that she doesn't want to talk about it. So he would continue to just keep his mouth shut and not even take the test. He would continue to just not know if this was about him keeping the secret. So this is not Finn being a manipulator. This is just Finn being a dummy.
I get that. I get that. But we've seen how this man switched on and off from thinking to her or calling her as an aunt and then switching to calling her just Poppy ever so quickly and smooth. And then also had a whole justification as to why they slept together. Like, oh, I was adopted. I was of age. It was perfectly fine. It was okay. And then meanwhile, you see your mother break down as to why she felt the way she felt about her own sister, because she didn't trust her being in that household and always suspected that something was going on underneath her nose. And you slept with her sister. Yeah, I feel like I feel like that part of it is very strategic and calculated, not to cover your bases to where your mother would never suspect you doing something like that.
Yeah, I don't think Finn is that smart.
I just want to. There's a small part of me that's hoping that test is negative next week. I just want to get back to getting Forrester back. At first, I was kind of like wanting to see what this was going to go into, because originally when we saw the previews for this week, when we saw Jack, we was like, oh, okay. And then when they started pointing to Finn, it became a whole, I'm like, oh. And then now add in the extra stuff with the I was of age and you were my first and all this other added stuff. I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't know about all that. So, so we'll see. I don't know. A lot of people, I know Jay is like, oh yeah, that test's gonna be positive.
I feel like there would have been no other reason for them to reveal that Finn and Poppy slept together if they weren't going to make Luna his daughter. And I can't imagine that we would get.
Where can you go from here, though, Keish? I mean, okay, the daughter come out. Steffy ain't going to want to deal with that. Lee is going to be upset. Liam going to have a field day with this. Hope is going to be laughing in Steffy's face. You know, I mean, Where does
And
that
then
leave?
Sheila.
And Sheila gonna be trying to fight to get into her granddaughter's life.
Oh, Finn is about to lose his family, no doubt.
That's what I'm saying. So what are you gonna do with the character? I mean, they're gonna live a separate life with separate scenes away from everybody else. I don't know.
I
I don't
think
know, but at this point, they need to get rid of the Poppy character because the way that they have written this whole thing, to me and to a lot of what I've seen on social media, the the character looks like a groomer, and the fact that she doesn't even seem regretful about what she did with Finn just makes her look 10 times worse, in my opinion. And like, there's nothing. Lee is going to hate her guts. She is going to hate her. What else will Poppy be able to do on this show
Yeah,
other
what is
than
Luna gonna say? You knew all this time that Finn was my father, but at the same time, you slept with my who I thought was my cousin.
yeah? Like, everybody is going to hate this woman, except for maybe Finn. Maybe they'll have Finn defending her. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Finn and Poppy's feelings will resurface for each
Oh
other, and
God,
they'll put them. They'll make them a couple. I don't know, but I don't see where else this character can go from here for after what she did to Lee.
and no
Like,
shade to Romy Park, So
yeah, no, none at all, for sure. She's doing her job. This is just about the character of Poppy.
absolutely.
They've done too much damage, I feel like, to her character in this storyline. And to me, this is just not the same as Rick. It was, what Rick did was disgusting too, but there's just something different about this, and she just looks horrible. I don't even know how else to explain it.
yeah. But where does Finn go from here?
I don't know. Maybe they'll have him beg for Steffy's forgiveness for a few weeks, and
But
maybe he
If
goes away
Steffy
too.
takes him back, she gonna be trying to tell that man to stay away from his daughter.
Yeah.
And because she ain't gonna want to have that girl who unalive two people to be anywhere near her kids, and Liam is gonna be screaming too.
Oh, 1000%. Well,
I want to,
Liam got worried about his own dad with the killer in his house.
yeah, okay, right. You got a whole other situation.
Yeah,
I want to highlight Jay Money's comments because the first one, I agree with you, Jay. This reshuffles the whole deck. It affects so many stories and characters. This is a good one on this part. I highly agree with that because this incorporated a lot of different characters. And it's going to, we might actually get to see Finn have a relationship with Sheila. We might also get to see Sheila and Luna, get Luna to take notes from her grandmother. And Sheila also hinted that she wanted to have access and be able to have a relationship with both of her grandchildren. We get to see, and I hate to say this, Keish, because not every couple's going to stay on together, but we get to see Finn and Steffy have a rift because that's going to cause a rift.
Mm-hmm.
And to another comment that Jay Money had, he said Hope is not running back to Finn. I think that she will, because think about it, because Carter's not going to break away from Hope anytime soon. Here you have this storyline that's going to cause a rift between Finn and Steffy. Hope would be the main one, especially since she don't really care about Carter like that, to break off what she had with Carter to go tend to Finn, because that was her kindred spirit that she was fantasizing about prior to getting with Carter. And also it would be one to stick it to Steffy, especially once the Foresters get the company back. So I think this creates a lot of different dynamics, a lot of different dialogue to shuffle the deck, like you said, Jay Money. So I agree with you, and I disagree with the small part there. I think Hope, this opens another door for Hope to get to Finn and also break Carter's heart, because he did all of this for a woman who didn't give a damn about him. So it just creates other different storylines, dynamics, a lot of different things. So they needed to do something, especially since we ain't heard nothing about no contract.
Mm-hmm. So we shall see what happens next week. We should get the results. I'm hoping we get them results on Monday, so I can move on with my life. I know the Thursday spoiler. I mean, this storyline is just, it's like, ugh.
It's been a year of her paternity in general, and then these last, like, we're going into week 4 of this whole
Right.
thing with Newman.
And my thing is, y'all focus all around this, but y'all couldn't keep Thomas.
Ooh,
Right.
Ooh,
Thomas could have gave us some good dialogue and hope, and even if you did throw Carter in there, I mean, come on. Him and Paris just went into the sunset, never came back.
I would have loved for Daphne and Thomas to have their thing. So like, oh, we had a little thing in Paris and then come back to LA and continue on with their thing. I don't know. Like, I miss Thomas on my screen. I feel
you
like
miss
he should
RJ
be
too?
Who? Actually, I would have loved his perspective on the whole coup and takeover thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that part was kind of missing for me because he is really smack dab in the middle of all of this. Would he be siding with Steffy, his dad and his grandfather, or his sister and Carter and his mother? That would have been interesting to see. But we didn't get that.
Nope.
But I would love to see Thomas, like, even like seducing Hope away from Carter. like there could have been so many different things that they could have used for Thomas. But right. I mean, I miss him on this screen. I miss Matt. Where are you, Matt?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he didn't. I don't know that he's not even in the credits or whatever. So, anyway, all right. Let's move on to our final 4 segments. I flipped the script segment for Y and R. What you got?
Yeah, no, I can't give you one because I barely.
Oh yeah, attention. You barely watched the week. What you got, Bree?
If I were to flip the script, I would love for Claire and Jordan to try to actually go through with Claire's original plan about trying to unalive Victoria for the long road. So make it look like she unalived Jordan, but she really didn't. And they're still plotting against the Newmans together.
That'd have been a good one.
I wish that they got rid of the whole missing Tessa scene. It's like I just don't understand that. Oh yeah, you weren't on when we were talking about that.
That whole little stretch was pointless.
It was
and unneeded.
Yeah, we actually thought something happened to the girl, and she stuck on the side of the road because she left the house and the phone broke down, and Abby picked her up. Okay, whatever, writers on that one.
And that lasted for 2 days, didn't it?
Right. They put out a APB on that girl. Chance was looking for her and everything, and all she did was take the baby for a ride. Unless, like I said to Bree before you popped on, unless there's some other dialogue that they're trying to tie her missing in action to. Otherwise, it was useless.
Yeah.
All right, what y'all got for bowl? Flip.
With this entire storyline, this entire backstory of Poppy and Finn and their little one night stand. But so for real, my flip would have been the way that Luna's paternity was revealed. Instead of dragging this out again to next week to tell us what we already know, I think what would have been a little more, I guess, creative or a little more of a shock would have been after he had that conversation with Lee. Like his wheels were already spinning that it was him, but us in the audience were still, some of us were still thinking that maybe he saw something with Jack and Poppy and that's what he was remembering. Like, we weren't really sure. They should have just had him test himself. We don't know that that's what he's doing. We're thinking maybe he's retesting Jack. And then when Poppy comes to his office, he is questioning her like he was doing. And then he tells her that I'm Luna's father. And then that's how we found out. That's how we find out that him and Poppy did something. And then they can go into their little backstory. Gotcha. But there was no point. I feel like them telling us that they slept together and then trying to drag this whole DNA results out until next week is just, it's stupid. Like, we're tired. Right. Just tell us and get it over with so we can move on to Lee beating the dog crap out of Poppy.
Okay. I cannot wait for that too.
Mom,
that's all I want to see.
Yeah, my flip is Sheila telling the two of them, listen, if you want to come to my restaurant, then you're going to have to run into me. Otherwise, go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they really told her to walk away from where they were because we don't want to have you hear our conversation. You in my restaurant, so I can be wherever I want to be. Go ahead.
I was going to say, instead of Poppy going to the jail to see Luna, I would have loved to see Finn go see Luna. Especially since she's been locked, that we've never seen, like, him have any interaction until the day that he saved Steffy. Mm-hmm. While he was thinking about all the things that Luna's done, it would have been refreshing for him to go to the jail and see, like, oh, she got released. And put on that fatherly, protective thing and see what was going on with her. And say, like, hey, we're going to do this DNA test and go from there. Versus him doing it secretly.
Let me answer Jay right quick. Jay said that ain't Sheila's restaurants, that's Deacon's.
They married. That's her restaurant.
California is a community.
What's yours is mine.
Exactly. It's community property. What do you mean? If she was to divorce him, she would get half of that restaurant in California.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's her man. She loved her. They're married. That's her restaurant.
Mm-hmm. All right. Did y'all get all y'all flips for Bo?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Who taking a seat on Young and the Restless?
Tessa.
Yeah, I'll agree with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Nick.
Yeah. Yep. Nick needs to take several six. Well, they got, you know what? I ain't going to, because they got their own separate medals that they have to accept.
Right. You know what? That's a good point. Tessa for sure, though. Mm-hmm. Call your spouse and say you're taking the baby out the house. Simple as that.
I'm going to tell Claire to take a seat because she's over there poking bears and whatnot. It's like, girl, shut up.
For real.
Claire?
Yeah, Claire, because she was agitating Ian. This man got a pew-pew in front of him. and looking down the barrel, and you're going to tell this man that the woman that he's in love with didn't want him? Be quiet.
All right. And to give that to Nikki, too, for trying to walk up to the man with the pew-pew.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, who taking a seat on Bold?
Poppy. Ooh. Poppy, and Poppy. Mm. Poppy is in a seat forever. She has a permanent seat.
Several seats.
I'm gonna give Hope a seat for trying to antagonize people.
Yeah, she can have one too. And you know what? I'm going to give Finn's old goofy ass a seat because he knew this entire time that he could have been that girl's father and he didn't say a word. I know it's a rewrite. I get it. But it is what it is now.
Go ahead, Bree.
Yeah.
I'm going to give Bradley Bell and the writers a seat. They need to sit down. Mm-hmm. They need to sit down and create test groups, focal groups, before they release the storyline.
Seats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Seriously. Have us review some episodes or get a focal group, because you need to kind of get a good idea of who's really watching your show and the audience is watching your show and how they're feeling. Because a certain group of demographics are going to react online, but your core audience may still feel a certain way about you reverting back to these old storylines.
Yeah, I need him to evolve past this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, star of the week, Young and the Restless. Well, for me, I'm gonna give it to Ray Wise and Lyndon Ashby. It was fun, even though he wore the same bloody shirt for the last 6 months. I give it to him. He put in a little bit of work. He was funny at sometimes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty funny.
I'll give it to Michael Crosby, who plays Daniel. Because I felt his pain. That was devastating, to lose his wife for absolutely no reason, not get any, justice, everything. Like, he had to relive all those feelings again. So the actor acted that out very well.
Oh man. Kimberly said that the writers need permanent seats.
Okay. Seriously. And you agree with that, D. Carter? Focus groups? I agree.
Okay, and your star of the week on Bold?
I don't know that I have one.
You so... I mean, the whole story is just so...
I have no words for the story that they put together. I just don't. Maybe I'll say Naomi Matsuda. The first couple of days this week, when she was talking to Finn and explaining how she thought what she thought about Poppy and Jack, and she was crying and stuff like that.
Yeah, I go with you on that, because I can't find nobody else.
I agree. I'll give it to Ted and Naomi, because it was nice to see those scenes. They have great chemistry. It was nice
they
to see
do.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was the light moment within this week. So I'm going to give it to both of them.
All right. And pickle of the week, Y&R.
Michael.
Victor. I was going to say Victor and Ian's fight.
Oh, man. Why would you... I mean, he already had a bullet in his belly, and then you go and... Yeah, that was crazy. You got yours, Bree? You said Michael. If I had to... I'm going to give the Billy and Sally scenes a pickle of this week, because I was just... I skipped through that whole thing.
Oh, I forgot about them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, okay, kudos to him to get his life together. He got a new house and he want to restart, but they're just boring to me.
I'm still mad Billy got that house.
Well, pickle on Bold.
This whole paternity storyline.
Yeah.
The whole backstory of what Finn and Poppy did.
Yeah, that whole thing, I gotta give it to that's what Finn was saying. You were my first, and hey, I was adopted. And I was oh my God.
Just the disrespect, the disrespect to Lee with all of that is just astounding. Yeah. I feel so sorry for Lee.
I know.
Yeah.
That woman she ain't been able to catch a break since she found out Sheila was his bio mom.
Man, come out of the alley looking like crazy. Because Bill saved her, and she almost fell for Bill for a hot minute, and they dropped that storyline.
That's my pickle.
What was your pickle?
Bill.
Yeah. Oh, God. And them repeating that whole thing for 3 weeks.
Exactly. And then disrespecting, even though it's true, trying to talk trash about Poppy, even though he brought that woman into his house and he was sleeping with her.
Right. Yep. And then, last but not least, our
I know you've been waiting for this one.
the
There's
Simp
quite a few contenders this
Awards.
week.
The Simp Awards. Second, I would say the silver medal goes to Nicholas, and the
Oh
gold
yeah.
goes to Michael Baldwin because this man looking down the barrel of a pew pew. I gotta watch it. Looking down the barrel. And this man had an opportunity to walk away from this, and you said, "I ain't thinking about my wife or my son. I Victor is like a daddy to me, even though I went to Peruvian prison for him. He disowned me for about 2-3 months, and I had to prove myself. I'm gonna stay here and look down that barrel."
Oh man.
Girl,
Yeah, I couldn't believe he did that
I
either.
can't believe that man did. I'm like, what?
Right.
I think Bree, you said earlier, Lauren need to have a side dude.
She probably does. She deserves one. She see her husband at least 10 to 20% of the time they've been together. He has dedicated his whole entire life to Victor. She need a couple of side dudes. Okay, one for each part of the hemisphere. Get one in Miami. Get one over in England. She get one over in Peru too. She deserves it since her husband chooses Victor over her and his family.
And how many times have Lauren been like, "Listen, I'm sick and tired of you going over there running for that man, and you almost getting your life in danger." And here you go again.
Exactly. Just
remember how? Wait a minute. How Victor? Let me see. What was it? How Diane was acting when she found out that Jack risked his life for Nikki. That's how Lauren should react when she find out that this man risked his life because, yeah, you want this man to be your daddy. I don't know who is worse, him or Luna. Luna wants Bill to be her daddy, and Michael wants Victor to be his daddy.
Well, you know what? Michael would be worse. He had over 20 plus years choosing this life. Longer than Luna's probably been alive.
Yeah, and then, like I said, with Nick, he get that other spot because ain't no way he should have been all up in Chelsea's business.
Yeah, that's where did that come from? When was the last time we've even seen him interact with Chelsea?
Thank you. She already had a plan with Adam when it come to her and her son. He's talking about, well, if he overstepped his boundaries or whatever, you got to call me. What?
Yeah, I'm confiscating his cape going forward. He does not need to save nobody else. He needs to report to work, or he needs to be underneath the sewer where Sharon was, because he's serving absolutely no purpose being in other people's business. And J Money said to help you. Oh yes, Mari. Ben did admit. I think it was either Monday's. I think it was Tuesday's episode that he did sleep with Poppy. That she was his first. He was 18. He said that they were consenting adults, and he stressed the fact that he was adopted, so it was okay, even though it was trifling as all get out.
Right.
And he was a virgin.
Right.
Yes.
Aisha said, "Can we make a Daphne perfume?"
Listen, you know what?
We spent an entire group chat pulling out all the fragrances that we all like. So,
yep, we can make something and sell it. Absolutely, if you guys want it, okay.
Girl, that's gonna take a lot of work.
Look, okay. Miracles happen. Maybe when CBS and Bold makes us a test audience or focal group audience, we'll have a little extra funds and we'll get the perfumes out to the soapies.
Right. That would be good, Aisha, I know. All right, you guys, that is it for tonight. Make sure that you stay tuned for the spoilers for the week of February. Oh my gosh.
Right.
And we're coming up on the gates in about 3.5 weeks. Beyond the gates, I should say.
No, I'm so
I
excited for
am
that.
so excited about that. And like I said, the trailers are fire. If you have not seen them, I have been sharing some of them on Facebook and Instagram. So make sure you get a chance to check those out. And also make sure you stick around for the spoilers for this upcoming week. So, y'all got anything else before we end it?
No, ma'am.
I can't wait for Monday's episode of Bold because he looked like he was trying to solve the math problem, looking so stressed out.
I know, right?
So we'll
We
see what
shall see.
happens. I already saw Monday's episode for Y&R, and that dropped some bombs.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to finish watching that. All right, you guys. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you later. Bye, Soapies.
Bye, everybody.